Hey, what's up everyone? JJ here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at the LEGO Harry Potter 2025 Flying Lesson Set. In this video, of course, we'll review the set, we'll look at the minifigures and some of the play features. We're also going to see how this set relates to the 2024 Hogwarts Castle system with the Great Hall, and we're going to see how some of these rooms can be changed, both here with the Flying Lesson, the Great Hall, and both the Charms and the Potions classroom. We'll then compare this Flying Lesson set to the 2021 version as well as the 2002 version, kind of to see those differences and similarities between the sets. Feel free to hit the subscribe button down below, but let's take a look at this set.
And here we see the Flying Lesson. This is set 76447. It has 651 pieces and retails for $79.99 in the US. This doesn't officially connect to the other Hogwarts Castle sets. However, it's built in a very similar structure, and we're going to see some interchangeability of the classrooms. This set does come with two of those portrait pieces, and here's what I mean when I say you can combine it with other sets. There you can see the Charms class fits nicely inside here. And we will also see some of the classrooms from this set be able to fit in the bottom of the Great Hall released last year. And one thing we will see when we look at this set is it does kind of fold up. There's lots of cool angles here where it can be displayed in different ways, but let's start off looking at the minifigures. This set does come with 6 minifigures: Professor McGonagall, Oliver Wood, Harry Potter, Neville Longbottom, Madam Hooch, as well as Draco Malfoy. So taking a look at some of these minifigures, of course, here we see Professor McGonagall, and definitely a downgrade on this figure. I like they've given her the hairpiece instead of the hat, but as you can see, there's no arm printing or even skirt printing, which is kind of unusual. We've seen a lot of really good iterations of her, so I'm not sure what that was about. We haven't seen a ton of Oliver Woods. Here he's just wearing a traditional kind of black sweater. It's a nice change on the character. I've never loved the face print they've used for him, but, you know, as a character, if it's not huge necessarily in this scene, I'm happy with it. There is some back torso printing as well. And we see there's a new poly bag that has just kind of leaked with Harry training, a Quidditch training poly bag, and it looks to be the same sweater that Harry is wearing in that poly bag. We do get a Harry Potter and Neville Longbottom minifigures. I really like this torso print for both of them. Of all the kind of Hogwarts robes torso prints, these two are my favorite. I think they just do a really good job with both the black and the gray. I don't like the sweater prints quite as much, so I much prefer when you have the robes visible there also. I really like Neville's face printing, and of course there we can get a view of the Remembrall, and we'll compare this to the other 2 iterations we've seen of that item. And then, of course, moving on, we also see Madam Hooch. Really cool torso printing there. This is one of those newer cape pieces, so it's kind of that thicker felt. Really cool face print. And then, of course, we see a scowling Draco Malfoy. Now, looking at some of the alternate face prints for each of these characters, we see McGonagall has an angry expression, which makes sense when she sees Harry riding on the broom. Oliver Wood and Harry kind of have a shocked or surprised facial expression. Neville's kind of just looks goofy. You know, the buck teeth. It works for the minifigure, it works for the character. I don't necessarily love any of his face prints, but they are definitely unique. I don't love Madam Hooch's alternate face print, but I think it works for the character, and this is just a traditional kind of Draco Malfoy face print. And I do want to compare this Professor McGonagall figure to the McGonagall that came with the boathouse. As you can see, there's just a lot less printing. I know she's wearing a different outfit, but something about just that arm printing and skirt printing and back printing kind of on the boathouse figure just really stands out a bit more for me than this McGonagall figure does. And similarly, there on the left, this is the Madam Hooch figure from the 2021 Flying Lesson. I actually do prefer the newer one. I think the glasses and the face print work a little bit better. I actually think the detailing on the older figure is a bit stronger, only because the white or silver there holding the whistle stands out a bit more on the dark blue torso printing. But all in all, these are both great figures, and I really like the improvement here with the thicker cape piece. You probably can't tell too much on camera. Well, you can a little bit, actually, that they're using kind of that newer cape piece for the newer figure. This set also comes with this statue figure, so if you consider that a minifigure, it does have nice torso printing there in the gray, and then a little bit of a silver sheen there on the spear. And then here on the right, that's the minifigure that came with the 2021 version. You can see it has the 2 swords and a beard piece with no torso printing. So I am happy they've included the torso printing for this statue. And that looks to be the same statue that comes with that poly bag with Harry training for Quidditch. All right, now looking at this set, as you can see, like I said, it closes fully. So we kind of have this rock structure there at the bottom. Over here, there's going to be a play feature where you can make these brooms go up and down. We see an entryway, which is kind of cool, and that kind of takes us back here to the statue. To open it up, you just come to this side that has the statue, and it kind of comes apart. Pretty much, this hole kind of connects to that little point there. I do want to point out there are 2 clip pieces, so I'm assuming at some point this will connect to another part of the Hogwarts Castle. And then once you unclip it, it kind of just spirals out to kind of create this wall that can be turned to either create a corridor or to wrap to the main building itself. From the front, of course, like I said, we see that rock structure, which I'm guessing will continue some other part of the Hogwarts Castle. And then we also see some windows, which we'll see in the inside is McGonagall's office. And then here at the top, there is this broom, well, it's kind of turned, that you can turn around, have a character flying around on. Going down here, this is that play feature I was talking about, where essentially you can practice raising the brooms going up and down when the students are in their class. And then next up is that entryway, and then folds next is going to be kind of this tower with the statue on top. Now let's take a look inside. First, on the back, on the side where they have the statue, I think this is Madam Hooch's office, only because there is a kind of printed piece for a flying lesson, a quill. And then underneath that, this is the trophy room. What's really neat is there are no stickers in this set, so each thing that you see is going to be a printed piece. It does come with 2 of those Hogwarts portraits. I'm still missing quite a few of them, and then we see a little bit of a trophy room. Further along the wall, again, here's the play feature where you can make the brooms go up and down by just pushing down that knob. But what is exciting is we see 2 additional rooms that can be removed. On the bottom floor here, we have kind of the Quidditch supplies, and then on the top, a transfiguration of Professor McGonagall's office or classroom. So the first piece that removes there from the castle tower is this kind of Quidditch supplies. Of course, we can see all the different supplies you need to play Quidditch. And so it kind of just makes a nice little supply closet there. And similarly with the Great Hall, you can see this kind of just slides in and out and then connects there at the back with some Technic pieces. Up on the second layer, of course, we have the same thing where you can connect this classroom in and out. And that is a transfiguration classroom. I've seen some people say it's just Professor McGonagall's office, but those really seem kind of like desks to me when you take it out all the way. And there's this cup that you can turn around and reveal this bird. So maybe it's her office, maybe it's a classroom. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not necessarily sure it matters either, but it's kind of a nice little feature here with this set. And I just wanted to take a moment to compare the flying lesson to the Great Hall set. Here we can see it kind of in front. We're going to move it to the side now to see how it stands the same height. So we can see it's built in the same dimensions in terms of height. So each level, so the kind of Quidditch supplies and the girls' bathroom underneath the Great Hall kind of go to the same stud count. And then we see the courtyard, which is a little bit shorter, but starts at the same base there with the Transfiguration classroom. There's no official connection point, even though on the Great Hall we see these clips. It does not appear that the flying lesson is designed to go in any of those connection points, which is more accurate for kind of the layout and design of the Hogwarts Castle grounds anyway, so that is nice to see. Now, underneath the Great Hall, of course, we have the Hufflepuff Common Room, as well as the girls' bathroom, and then here in the center, there's kind of this like portrait gallery, hallway, passageway I've kind of created underneath of the Great Hall. Last year, they released the Potions classroom, and this classroom can be folded up. And once you fold it up, it could actually fit into the space where Hufflepuff Common Room or that girl's bathroom is underneath the Great Hall. This year, we've seen a Charms classroom that could also be folded up. Its dimensions are much smaller, and that's because it can be put here in the center where kind of that portrait gallery was. And I say this all because both the Charms class and that portrait gallery are from the same dimensions of kind of the Quidditch supplies here, as well as this Transfiguration classroom in the Flying Lesson Tower. So the 4 of these can be mixed and matched and put into these 3 different locations in the Hogwarts Castle. Now, the Charms class is much bigger and obviously has walls, but the height is cleared, so we're able to put it in all 3 of these locations, which I think is really cool. It allows you, the builder, as the opportunity to really expand upon, for instance, this Transfiguration classroom. If you want to take off those flat brown pieces, kind of create walls that are holding additional details and items that you would find in a Transfiguration classroom, I think that could really expand kind of your Hogwarts Castle. Here I have placed the Quidditch supplies underneath the Great Hall to show you it does in fact fit. And then here on the flying lesson, I have put the Charms class there in the bottom. You can see even though, it does have the kind of embellishments there on the wall, it does clear the height. And then I kept the Transfiguration classroom here. And I do want to point out a really cool feature of both the Potions class and the Charms class. I put the Potions class underneath the Great Hall and then the Charms class here just on the bottom half there of the Flying Lesson Tower. As you can see, the doors for both of those rooms are out. And not only that, but you can also swing open the rooms a little bit. It doesn't work quite as well here with the Charms class, but perhaps if we bring it out more, but definitely does with the Potions class where you kind of have the whole play set up. So I fiddle with the Charms build a little bit, and if you don't push it in all the way to the back, you're able to open up this wall fully. And I guess it kind of has a classroom there. Oh, you see the two desks, the teacher stand, so it does technically work. All right, now that we've looked at the flying lesson, kind of how it fits into this Hogwarts Castle system that was introduced with the Great Hall, and saw the connection points with some of those classroom builds, let's take a look at how this set compares to various iterations we've seen previously of the flying lesson. All right, first up, we will look at the flying lesson from 2001, 2002. Obviously, the minifigures are, in that original Lego Harry Potter with the yellow skin. And all that really was included with the build was this little cart that can be wheeled around, and it had 2 brooms and had this Remembrall, which I'm trying to show. Really just has kind of that gold line print across it. So nothing too fancy there. One of the first Quidditch or flying lesson type sets. It did the job. It was really cheap even at the time. I did have this in my collection, and that Remembrall was one of my favorite pieces, but obviously it pales in comparison to like the towers we're getting now in 2025. And then in 2021, for the anniversary of Lego Harry Potter, we saw the flying lesson set here. Obviously included Madam Hooch, who we've already looked at. It did have a Draco and Neville. Both look really good. And also came with a Quirrell golden minifigure. These sets this year each had a golden minifigure included with them. But some parts of the build, just looking at the set itself, you kind of have this door. Nothing too crazy there, kind of similar to the entryway. There are lots of these like clear pieces. You can put figures with brooms, which is nice. And the whole gimmick of the set is, or the sets from this wave, is they all could be rearranged using these Technic pieces. So I've kept them disconnected. But for this one, of course, we see kind of 2 side towers with the 4 house banners. Up here, we've already looked there at the statue, but that's kind of the top of this building. And then we see the top of the other building. And again, that gives us a total of 3 of those clear sections to put students on brooms. Looking inside, we have the same 2 rooms. This is where the trunk with the various Quidditch supplies is kept. It does have 2 brooms that come with this set as well that you can kind of put there in the barrel. I just don't have them here right now. And then we also see a trophy room. There's definitely some things I like more about this trophy room. Obviously, there's actual trophy pieces, as well as there's little statues there on the top left in a gold or silver cup. The plaque, the wood plaque, that is a sticker piece. So that is one thing they made for the better in the newer set, making it a printed piece. But all in all, as you can see, it's a much smaller interior. Now, even though it's a much smaller interior, from my perspective, it really does a lot of similar things in terms of how the set fits in to the castle system in which it existed. The trophy room is pretty much the same. It's actually bigger on the 2021 version. And so we do get some additional features such as this Professor McGonagall area. And this is much bigger here with the Quidditch supplies. They're not just all in a trunk, for instance. But the newer one is twice the price. And I could see it in terms of size and build, but it doesn't feel like it should be twice the price in terms of content that you're getting with the set for me. It really does a very similar thing. I'm hopeful that as this castle system in 2024 is expanded upon, like the ability to kind of unravel this set really is impactful with the shapes that it helps create for the Hogwarts Castle grounds. That just the 2021 was just very linear and didn't quite do that. So I'm very hopeful still. But I don't know, it's $80 for the set. It feels a bit high in terms of price, whereas the Dueling Club and Malfoy Manor I was much happier with in terms of the price point for what I felt like we were getting. And now let's take a look at the 3 iterations of the Remembrall. When it was first introduced in the original Harry Potter line, of course, it was just a clear headpiece, just with that thin gold line with some circles. And that was pretty much it. And they kept that design. They just made it diagonal, kind of on these 2 newer ones. The first one on the left is from 2021. As you can see, it used a lighter gold and a lighter red coloring. The prints do appear to look the same. However, you can see in the newer one, both the gold and the red are much darker, and the holes are actually filled in. So instead of being kind of like the original 2, it is filled in. So this is just a really cool piece that I like seeing Lego, and that's one of the reasons I like when they redo the flying lesson, just to see what the Remembrall is going to look like. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the 2025 LEGO Harry Potter flying lesson and what you think of it in terms of the price point and how it compares to the two earlier iterations of the flying lesson. Also, let me know if there's any other LEGO Harry Potter scenes you want to see and what you are excited for as they continue to expand upon the LEGO Hogwarts Castle system in the next few years.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to stay updated with LEGO leaks, rumors, news, and reviews, hit the subscribe button down below. But I will see you all next time.